What is the role of a synagogue and religion in general in our society today? And in classes I teach, I like asking my students deliberately provocative questions, at least for the sake of testing your ideas and boundaries. For example, can a rabbi not believe in God? Who do we speak to when we say prayers? Do you expect your prayers to be answered? Well, the most beautiful part of liberal Judaism is, and what makes, I think, our movement, our Judaism liberal, is that I, as a rabbi, don't expect my congregants or my community to have a particular answer to these questions. As a liberal rabbi, I would like to create an environment where people can learn and approach every subject with a clear and critical mind. My role is to open the door and show options, but the choice of how to lead your life is yours. Where else is there a safe space where you can be yourself? Where else is there a place where you don't have to be brave to express your view? In over 3,000 years of our history, the Jewish tradition developed a way to approach complex subjects and controversial topics. I'm talking about the most sacred secret of Judaism, conversation, where minority opinions, but the conversation where minority opinions are listed and preserved. Talmud, one of the key foundational intellectual work of Judaism, not only records conclusions of rabbinic debates, but all opinions during the discussion. This is why, if you read 2 pages a day, it takes about 7 years to read all of it. Traditionally, Jews study Talmud in small groups of 2, sometimes 3 or 4 people. It means that there is no way you can remain silent or unnoticed in such a small group. It means that you must have an opinion and be ready to express it. Silence and accepting conclusions as they are is not a Jewish way of life. Perhaps this is why there is a very old Jewish joke about a Jew who ends up on a desert island and spends a year there, alone. After being rescued, he shows people how he survived and what he's built in this island. So this is where I slept, this is where I cooked food, this is my first synagogue, this is my second synagogue. Wait, did you build 2 synagogues just for yourself? Really? Why? What do you mean why? This is my synagogue, and this is the synagogue I'm not going to put my foot into. And on the philosophical level, debate, disagreement, and conflict are at the core of Judaism. A good disagreement with conflicting opinions leads to the best results. On a deeper level, it can also mean that in life, there can be more than one correct answer to the same question. This approach is best expressed in the following an extraordinary story in Talmud. If you have a young tree in your hand that you are about to plant, and people tell you that the Messiah has come, plant the tree first, and then go and greet the Messiah. I really enjoy this piece of Talmud, because from over 15 centuries ago, it conveys a touch of sanity, a link to the ground, and a sense of order and values that I think many of us can identify with. The world is based not only on ideology and beliefs, but also on pragmatic decisions and practical solutions. Who knows? Maybe the person you are told about is not a real Messiah. Perhaps this is the mistake that all people around you are making. This should not be the reason to waste the tree. Symbol of future, nature, and hope. So do the right thing. Plant the tree first, and then go and meet this person. A similar approach is articulated in this week's Torah portion. Israelites undertook the sacred task of building the place of God's presence. And then at this moment, your theological views don't really matter, whether you believe that God can be located in one place or God is everywhere or nowhere. All of it doesn't matter, because at this point, Jewish people building place that represents God on earth. A tremendous and overwhelming task. What is the first thing we hear about this project? Not a building project, but a reminder about Shabbat, a day of rest. These are the things the Eternal One has commanded you to do. For 6 days, work is to be done, but the seventh day shall be your holy day, a day of Sabbath rest to the Eternal One. Only after this important reminder of rest and self-care, the details and instructions for the building of God's place were listed, and we heard them before. The sense of mission and values is, of course, essential, but it is not the Messiah who is building our world now, but us, regular people. We need to remember to take care of ourselves and those around us. In other words, the Jewish wisdom teaches us that it's okay to take a break from fulfilling your mission, from the news, and not think about current affairs and problems of the world all the time. We have 6 days a week for that. Sometimes we all feel that we don't do enough, don't know enough, don't spend enough time, money, energy. Sometimes the sense of mission overrides the responsibility of care for yourself. Sometimes we feel that we need to know everything, do everything, and be perfect, or ask our leaders to be perfect. Today's social norms don't allow us to make mistakes. Otherwise, we may appear weak. But perhaps the worst weakness is the inability to say, I don't know, or I'm sorry, or even worse, failure to accept that people can make mistakes. You probably expect me also to say something about the war in Ukraine, especially considering my Ukrainian roots and connections and the fact that I am Russian by birth and by passport. But the truth is, I have very little to add to what's happening now. I am torn, ashamed, scared, and divided inside. From the Jewish perspective, the message is quite clear. Human life is the greatest value we have in the world. A life destroyed is like a universe destroyed, and a life saved is like a universe saved. In life and death alike, we are all of us are equal. Ukrainians, British, Russian, Jewish, Christian, Hindu, black, white, all of us. On a personal level, my parents are in Russia. My extended family are in Kiev. I have many friends who are trying to escape the war or hide in bomb shelters in all parts of Ukraine. They are brave, angry, tired, and scared. Rabbi John Rayner, a Holocaust survivor, spiritual and intellectual leader of liberal Judaism, once wrote, "It is not enough to pray for peace. We have to work for it, to denounce injustice, not only when it's committed against us, but also when it's committed against others, to defend human rights, not only our own, but also theirs, to insist that peace requires sacrifice of pride, of wealth, of territory, to practice and promote the way of moderation, compromise and reconciliation, and to build bridges of respect and understanding, trust and friendship across the charms and divide humanity." I would like to add, if Rabbi Rayner's vision is far from reality and the war has already started, it is not enough to pray for its end. We need to save as many lives as we can, accept refugees, organize transport, issue visas, In other words, in the world of inhumanity, we need to be human. In the world of indifference, we need to be compassionate. In the world of anger, we need to be kind. And for each destroyed building, we need to build 2 new, even though we are not going to put our feet into the second. But now is Shabbat, and we have to remind ourselves that we need some rest too. We are not a Messiah. We are just normal and ordinary people that sometimes just need some rest. Shabbat Shalom.